tattoo. One of the irritating things when you're using your power source and it's covered in saran wrap is sometimes your knob won't turn because it gets caught up in the saran wrap. So one of the ways you can alleviate this problem is just to cut a finger off of one of your gloves and put it over that. So something everybody should have is an eye loop, and you should use this to make sure that your needle group isn't messed up before you tattoo. If you have a messed up needle grouping, it'll cause more damage and even be painful when you're tattooing somebody. So you always want to check out your needle, make sure it's not messed up. Now here's a couple of things about grommets here. I have two types of grommets, these round ones and these top hat ones. And there's a little technique you can use to get these round ones to work better because they're really stiff. If you mash them down and kind of rub them around in your finger a little bit to soften them up, they will go into your eye loop a little easier. Now if you angle them towards the opening of your eye loop and get half of it in, get that first half squeezed in there, you can kind of use your thumbnail. Once it's halfway on, it'll hold it, and then just use your thumb to push the other half of the grommet into your eye loop. Now, not everybody likes these round grommets, but they have their advantages and disadvantages. One of the advantages is that you can take your needle off if you have to and put it back on very easily. The grommet still stays on there. Your grommet will go through your tube vise, and so you don't have to mess with it once it's on. Here's a new machine I just got, and I'm going to try it out for the first time today. And you can see with these round grommets that I can just put the needle right through the vise there, and then you can just push it onto your armature bar once it's in the correct spot. So when I'm setting up my tube, I like to set it up so that I have a little bit of needle sticking out of the end of it. This isn't a rule, this is just how I like to make sure my tube and tip are set up correctly. And you can see if you angle that tip or use a diamond tip that you can see a little bit more of your needle. So you want to put your rubber bands on, and depending on your machine you can use one rubber band. If it holds tension on your needle and keeps it in the bottom of your tip and also keeps your needle in the middle of your tube. I'm running this machine for the first time, but I'm pretty confident that I can put two rubber bands on here and keep tension on my needle and still have it run correctly. So out of the box it's running a little high on the duty cycle, so I adjusted that. And when I made my adjustments it went a little lower than I wanted, so I'll just have to adjust it one more time to get it where I want it. Now it's time to baggy my machine. And if you make a cut on the side of the baggy, you can put your clip cord through the hole in the baggy that you just cut after bagging the clip cord itself. And this is the easiest way I've found to bagging my machines. just slip the clip cord through that hole and then pull the bag over your clip cord. That way the bag's not getting in the way while you're trying to put your clip cord on your machine. And then you just want to hook up your machine, and then you can pull the baggie over your machine, because the opening's on the bottom, and these sandwich baggies have this little extra flap here. So then you pull the flap around your tube and around your machine, and then throw a little piece of tape on there. I like to use a little piece of duct tape, and that will keep your baggie in place. And then you can also get a marker and write on this piece of duct tape what needle you're using, so you don't forget what's what. You know, you can grab it quickly. So I'm using a 7 round liner, and I will also be using a 7 round shader in my lining machine, my other lining machine, and then a 7 round mag in my color packer. So here's my aluminum cast machine that I'm using as a liner. I'm going to show you how I put these top hat grommets on here, how they're a little bit different from the round grommets. Now if you just slip them over your armature bar, you'll have a hard time when you put your needle through getting it over that grommet. So what I like to do is get my tube and tip and needle ready and put that all together. And then once everything's together, you just slide it through your tube vise, because with the top hats they like to get stuck in your tube vise. So if you try to put it on and then stick it through there, it's liable to come off in your tube vise. But if you put your needle through first, and then these also have to be on the right direction, so you have to look at which way your needle is facing, and then slip the top hat grommet into your loop there. And then once it's in there, you can stick it onto your armature bar and then push it onto your armature bar. So I'm using a ghost tube diamond tip with this. You can see it's about the angle that I did on the other tip. And you can also see I'm leaving my needles hanging out, but not very much. They're just sticking out of the end of the tip there. So make all your adjustments you need to the machines before you bag them up. On my 7 round mag, I'm going to bend the tip a little bit to make sure that it stays in the bottom of my tube, because you want the needles and the tube to be parallel with each other, and you want it to sit in the bottom of the tip. It's always a pain to have to come back and adjust your machine after you have put the baggie on it. So try to make whatever adjustments are necessary before you put it in the baggie.